When it comes to gifting, everyone on your list deserves something special. Luckily, Marshall's buyers travel far and wide, hustling for great deals and amazing gifts, so you don't have to. That means your mom gets that cashmere sweater, your best friend, that Italian leather bag. Your coworkers unwrap their favorite beauty brands, and your nephews, the coolest new toys. Go ahead, at prices this good, you can grab something for yourself too. Marshalls, we get the deals, you gift the good stuff. Shop now at marshalls.com or find a store near you.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and each week I'm joined by a panel of guests to discuss all things fandom and pop culture, primarily from a female perspective. You'll find everything from fanfic to cosplay to Schitt's Creek to Supernatural and everything in between. So put on your favorite piece of fandom merch, set aside that fanfic that you're writing about your OTP, and sit back and enjoy this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to this very special episode of It's a Fandom Thing. No, we are not going to be talking about why you shouldn't do drugs or giving you other PSAs like you might have gotten when you were in school, when you were young and you'd watch those after school specials, I watched those all the time. I got lots of fear from them. I did. Especially the one that dealt with angel dust. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Oh.
But no, instead, we are talking again about the bear. Erin, will you just shut up about this show already? Well, I can't. Never, exactly. This show owns me, and everybody's just going to have to deal with it. And I drug someone else along on this ride with me, and that is Carla. And I'm so glad it worked. I also I am going to get someone to ship Sid and Carmy with me. And I knew if there was one person that I could possibly get to do it, it would be Carla. And so it worked, and I'm very happy about it. I don't mean to make it sound like it was some evil master plan, but
it was just very effective.
Yes. So, hello, Carla from OK Real Quick.
Hello, Erin from It's a Fandom Thing Pod.
So I have no idea when you're hearing this episode. I was going to try and release this as our 600th episode, but then that means I'd have to make sure to edit it before the other ones. And next week is going to be, we're recording this on Thursday, September 25th. And next week is going to be wackadoo because of our horror trivia event. And I also have It's a Dean Thing episode to edit. So I was like, I don't know. I might release this in November during my birthday month is probably when I will release this episode. But if you're a Patreon subscriber, you're going to hear it before then. I don't know when, but you're going to hear it before then. So if you want to get special bonus content, like just magically appearing before other people get to listen to it, become a Patreon supporter today via the link in the show notes or the Support Us tab on our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. But enough about me. We are going to dive into the world of Sid and Carmy, or as I like to call it, the Sid Carmy special. Yes, we've pulled up to the restaurant. We're sitting at the Bear, and Richie has come to, that asshole.
That abuser.
Yeah, that abusive jerk. It's a total joke. I need to stay off Reddit. So Richie has come and sat down and asked us what we would like. And both Carla and I say the Sid Carmy special. And Richie does kind of slightly roll his eyes. Even though he supports it, he still has to be, silly and joke around about it. So if you don't know who these people are, I don't know why you're listening to this.
Good point.
Unless you really, really just want to hear us talk about a ship that we're shipping. But let me just give you some character information. And I do want to give some trigger warnings because the Bear, the comedy that it is, it's very heavy. It deals with suicide. That's a big, huge trigger for this show. It deals with depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, emotional abuse, alcoholism, drug abuse. Tons, like every comedy out there, every great comedy out there. Remember how on growing pains when they had all the...
Well, the real growing pain was all of the death and the horror and the grief that they had to deal with every single episode.
Exactly.
It was just very subtle and nobody really got it. But, we got it. And that's what matters.
We got it, yes. What does this mean? Maybe I should have read this beforehand. So I'm on the Bear Wiki Fandom. And so first up is Sydney Sid. You know what? I know how to pronounce her last name, but now I can't remember how to pronounce her last name. Adamu? No, that's not how you say it.
Adamu?
Yeah, that's it. What does this word mean? I feel so stupid right now. So Sid is the deuteragonist. It's spelled DEUTERAGONIST.
I need to see this word. DEUT. Oh, deuteragonist.
Oh, deuteragonist. I don't know this word.
I can tell you totally off the top of my head that I totally knew. A deuteragonist is the person's second in importance to the protagonist in a drama. Just things that I randomly know, Erin.
Cool. I should know. Actually, I should know that. Frankly, we should know this.
And now we do. I mean, it's never too late to learn.
Yes.
Just because we're 600 episodes almost into It's a Fandom Thing pod and we didn't know this word until now means nothing.
I know. So we always knew this word. But that's what Sid is the deuteragonist. I don't care. Of the comedy drama series The Bear, she is a sous chef at the original Beef of Chicagoland. And, well, she's more than that now, and helps Carmy Berzato fix the restaurant. She becomes the CDC of The Bear and a financial partner in its success. She is portrayed by Ayo Adebre. There's a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to read her whole background because we're not here just to talk about their backgrounds. And even though it says she's single and has no relationship, we all know that's not true. We all know deep down her soulmate is, well, I'm really sorry for you, Sid, that this is your soulmate. Even though I love you, Carmy, but holy crap, talk about a soulmate to have.
Right?
Is Carmy Berzato, who is the main protagonist, so not that quadruple tagonist or whatever. He is portrayed by Jeremy Allen White, or as we call him, Jaw.
Yep.
Jaw. We all do.
Jaw.
Jaw. I wonder if his friends call him Jaw. They probably just call him Jer.
You know what? Maybe, but it's because they don't know him like we do, Erin.
Or they call him Alan.
That's exactly it. They call him Geral. Geral. Hey, Geral. How are you today? I'm doing great, nameless friend. And by the way, I love being called Geral. You should do that all the time.
If I ever interview him, that's what I call him.
So, Geral, tell us more.
Like, how did you know? But Carmy is a Chicago native and award-winning chef who leaves the world of fine dating. Fine dating.
Just fine dating. Like, okay, dating. Like, all right, dating.
Oh my God, this is the goofiest episode.
What, an episode with just the two of us?
I know. Leaves the world of fine dining to take control of his family's restaurant following the suicide of his older brother, Mikey. Just like every comedy starts.
Naturally.
While his efforts to revitalize the restaurant are largely successful, he ultimately closes down the restaurant in favor of opening a new one, a fancier one. I'm not going over his background either. Enough with these people now.
Screw the details. That was fun. Thank you, Erin.
So, Carla, other than the fact that I kind of just drug you onto this ship, why do you ship Sid and Carmy?
Well, before we get into that, Erin, I just want to say that it's hilarious that you just talked about PSAs, because I actually just recorded an episode of Okay Real Quick on 80s and 90s PSAs.
I knew. See?
Just like,
I knew.
we're right here, man. We're just locked in. It's that Sid Carmy connection.
Exactly.
So
That's what it does to you. That's what it does to you.
100%. But here's the thing. I don't know why I ship them. And it's like, okay, let me explain, okay? I will say more, as Carmy would want me to do. Say more. I will say more. Look, ships don't always have to make sense. Sometimes it's just chemistry. Sometimes it's just vibes. And I could make up reasons. I could come up with reasons. I could say, they're both chefs. They're both very talented. They both get that world. And they're the only people among their entire group who really understand what it is that they're looking at and what it is that they're trying to achieve and accomplish. And they have so many things where the things that they don't have in common are like pieces that fit well together. And that's all well and good. But frankly, at the end of the day, you could say that about Sid and a handful of other characters on the show. But the thing that for me really makes me ship them is the fact that I just see them as having potential down the line of being a good pair. And it is because the actors have great chemistry with each other. It's just like a bananas bonkers amount of chemistry that they have. And also, you can't get away from the fact that like the way that Carmy looks at Sid, that's a very compelling thing to witness. And, you could ask yourself, well, what about Sid? What is it that makes you want to do this to her? Why would you want to do this to her? But I really think that this is somebody that she admires greatly. And it's one of those things of like, they tell you never meet the people that you admire for reasons. But I think in the end, there is such a goodness in Carmy that is just under layers and layers of trauma. And I think that once he gets to the point where he deserves to be with her, they will be happy together. I enjoy that potential, as far as ships go. Yes, I love it when the potential is immediate and things can happen right there. It's like, go bang somewhere. Just do it now. But I also enjoy a slow burn. And I enjoy when characters have to grow into better versions of themselves. So that for me, I think is like part of it, just like the romantic notion of like, these are people who are going through stuff and are going to come out of it stronger and better. And I really see in them and with that chemistry, the potential for something fantastic.
Yeah, I think you put it so perfectly because, the funny thing is like if you were to go and listen to our very first The Bear episode, I say specifically in that episode, I don't ship these two. I don't want these two to get together. I think they are just like, they have this great like platonic soulmate thing going on. And I don't know if I don't think I use those exact words, but that's what I was thinking. But a big part of that for me was I was like, number one, I honestly do not think this show is ever going to put them together, which breaks my heart. But I just don't think it's going to happen. If it does, it would be like at the very end of the show, in my opinion. That's what I think. I could be totally wrong. I could be proven wrong and I'd be fine with that depending on how they did it. And so I was like, I don't want to have a ship where I'm going to be like, oh God, this is never going to happen. And don't want to deal with that. But then the season finale of season 4 happened. And I remember watching that and I was like internally thinking, just tell her you love her. I can tell you want to say you love her. It's like, it's like the passion was right there. I was even like, oh my gosh, you're going to kiss. And my podcast brain twin, Jen, who decidedly does not ship these two, it's so funny because she actually was like, I was so worried he was going to kiss her. So see, it's not just like a made up thing. And so I was like, holy crap, I really do ship these two. And it is that undeniable chemistry. Like, I think, we've mentioned it before in other episodes that I think a lot of times that's forgotten now. that like it's really essential, I think, in any kind of romantic pairing. And I know that wasn't maybe the initial thing when show was created, but even in a friendship pairing, a partnership pairing of any kind, I think the characters have to have chemistry. The actors have to have chemistry. And these two just undeniably do have chemistry. It's like one of those things where I don't, it weirds me out to ship real life people unless they're already like married. But I can understand why people ship the actors because their chemistry, even offset, is really like just there. It's so evident. And you can tell they really respect each other as actors. And I think that helps with that chemistry.
For sure.
Yeah. So then when I started shipping them, I went back and I'm watching the other ones and I'm like, I just must have just not wanted to see this so badly because I was like, it's never going to happen, that I just was denying it because it's there from the very first time they meet. And I have to say, even though I think Sid at first, it's very much this like in awe of this person who created the best tasting meal she's ever had in her life. And she respects him so much. But I think I see more of like this, I don't know, desire and want from Carmy than I do from Sid a lot of times. Carmy is just very like tuned into her. Like even when they're fighting or when they're arguing or something, he's like, he cannot stand her being mad at him.
Yes.
He fucking hates it. It's like the scene when he brings Claire into the restaurant and she leaves and she's just like, good night, and just very like dismissive. And he's like, whoa, what the hell? And that's why they have their whole sorry thing that they do at the signing. And I think, and you can just tell he cannot stand it when she is mad at him. And that's why I say, even though I think Sid is nowhere near in touch with all her feelings for Carmy, but I think Carmy, even though he's so removed from himself anyway, but I think Carmy would be the first person to say something of these two, like in a moment, like because he is so in tune with her and wanting to please her that it's really so interesting to watch the way he just stares at her. Because it's not creepy. I don't think it's creepy. It's just very like in awe and like
he's so attentive of like her every breath almost. And again, not in an every breath you take kind of attentiveness. Not like that. But just she walks into the room or he walks in and she's there and he's immediately aware of her, like hyper aware of her. And it's like he can't shake that awareness no matter what he does.
That's exactly what it is. It's like it's like no one else exists, but not in a weird, cheesy way. It's more like, first off, he doesn't think that she cares about him at all, like in the same way at all. And that's a lot of, I think, what kind of gets realized in the season finale of season 4. He just sees like this person that, man, if I ever was like good enough, or if I was actually a good person, maybe I could be worthy of someone like this. So it really is one of those where it's not like I'm like, I can't really explain all the reasons I ship them. It's just, their chemistry is undeniable to me. I think if Carmy were to really start getting real help, and that's why I'm so glad he's leaving the restaurant. I am so glad he's leaving the restaurant. I think that's the best, healthiest decision this character has ever made. I think down the line they would be great together, because that's the other thing is I wouldn't want them to get together yet, because I think if they did, it would be like a really like they would crash and burn really quickly. And so I think it would have to be something where Carmy was in a healthier place. And that's what I hope we'll get to that later, but that's what I hope he does in season 5. Because I think season 5 is probably going to be the last season of the show. So, which is sad to me because I just discovered the show and it's like, but I think it's going to be the last season probably. And so I would want it to be something. We'll talk about that later. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that yet. But we're going to talk about some fun stuff. I know I only put 3. It's always the dreaded 3. What are 3 of your favorite Sid Carmy scenes?
As always, it's very difficult, but I'm going to start with first when they meet. And it's not just because, okay, it is because of this, but it's not just. It's been pointed out, so it's not just me saying this, but that there's chaos and there's so much going on, and Carmy is being pulled into 5 different directions by the people at the beef, as it was called at that point. And then Sid walks in and it's like everything gets very calm really fast. And then he's just very focused on her. And right there, you see her admiration for him. And even though we're up to the end of season 4 and she still hasn't told him the truth, which is that he made the best meal that she has ever had. And that basically she's been following his career because of that. It's not just, oh, I came across an article about a fascinating new chef who happens to be around my age and therefore somebody that I can aspire to emulate, I can emulate that trajectory. She was so inspired by a thing that he made that it changed her life in essence. So there is that admiration from her. And you have also a secret, which is always intriguing in a budding romance, in my opinion. I think it's one of those like, ooh, they have a sexy secret, like a cute, sexy secret. And then he is just immediately taken by her because, first of all, she's beautiful. But then he looks at the resume and he's blown away by, her acumen and her background and where she studied. And I just also think it's hilarious that he's like, UPS? And she's like, yeah, the courier company. What did you do for them? Delivered packages? Like he's trying to like make it fit into this image that he has instantly developed of Sid as this unbelievable find where she's just like fallen from the sky with all the qualifications he could have never thought to ask for in an employee, let alone somebody who will eventually become like a business partner. And he's like, okay, so UPS must be a fancy spot I never heard of. Nope. Okay, just the package. Okay, cool. Maybe they had a lot of functions and she catered them? No, not that either. Okay, cool. Some secret third thing? No, just delivering packages for them. All right. Yeah, I guess we got to do that sometimes. I just thought it was hilarious. So in that scene, you have comedy, you have tension, you have secrecy, but not in a way where you're like, ew, this is going to burn them down the line. It's just like in a way where it's going to be so fulfilling, I think, when Carmy does find out. And I think that's part of why I really treasure the fact that they haven't revealed it yet. Because I think that it is something that when he gets to the point where he is in a better spot mentally and emotionally, where he can give and receive love in a way that is healthy and not dependent and not out of desperation and hope for a respite, but just out of really like, I'm ready for this, then that component will also be there. And I think that'll be great. So yeah, for all those reasons, there's that one scene. And okay, I could have picked the under the table scene because it is under the table and it's great. And it's like, kiss the girl under the table. All of the Little Mermaid songs that you want to throw in there. It's a chef, so you can also do Le Poisson in there. Like how I love Le Poisson, not to chop in a silk little fish. You could do that if you wanted to, but we're not going to go there. I'm going to go with the scene where he is being an absolute tyrant and she tells him basically, stop. I've had it with you. You're going to stop right now because I said so. And what does he do? He stops. He takes a moment and he's like, because Sid is telling me this, something must be really, really broken right now that I need to pay attention to. And the reason that I think it's such a powerful scene and why it's part of my whole shipping them thing is that I really appreciate a ship where the person who is in a social position where they would be kind of lower rung doesn't act that way. They don't make their behavior fit that mold. And the thing is, she's always like this throughout the entire show. She's not somebody that's going to get stepped on. She is somebody who's going to stand up for what she believes and is going to speak up when she feels the need to speak up. She might stab you in the butt if she needs to. Who knows? She will do what it takes. That's just it for you. By the way, thank you, The Bear, for introducing me to my favorite phrase of the day, which is stab you in the butt. I'm so mad at this person, I'm going to stab them in the butt. I would never actually do that, by the way, just so the FBI knows. I just think it's hilarious. And it's also fantastic to put it into emoji form. But I think it's so funny. And it's not because she takes herself seriously, because she doesn't. She knows what she's about, but she doesn't lord it over people. Part of the reason that she would make a great boss is that she treats people fairly and she treats people decently and with respect, but you will not disrespect her. She will not put up with it. And I think that's fantastic. And, what I was saying before about the whole social aspect of it, she's a woman. She's a Black woman. She's a Black woman who is technically the employee of this person. So there are a lot of, reasons to feel kind of, I don't know the best way to go about this is, but she doesn't let that stop her from saying and acting in the way that is right. And she really lays down the line and in very few words lets him know your behavior is unacceptable. You need to get a hold of yourself. You're disrespecting me. You're disrespecting everybody. And you're not behaving in a way that is befitting of your station. Stop it. I think, if Tina had said that, maybe he would have maybe stopped and been like, all right, but he would have done it a lot more grumbly, I think. But I think the fact that it's Sid and that she's always so cool and even keeled, except when she's stabbing accidentally people in the butt, it makes him kind of pull up short even more. And also just the fact that he is so in awe of her. And I think that too kind of informs his decision down the line of being yeah, she is somebody who has a level head and can run a place. Unlike me, who accidentally will throw yourself in a freezer and get stuck there. She probably wouldn't do that because she probably would have called somebody about the door in the first place. We're not going to get there too. No, we're not going to go there because, whatever. We're not going to hold a grudge about it. Like I did for the 2 days between that and when the next season ended. I was just let it go. I will move on. I'm okay. I'm an okay person with this. All right. So the third scene that I will mention is when he thinks she's going to be named Best New Chef, because the look that he gives her, everybody's, holding their breath as they're about to say who it was that this publication decided was from the Bear going to be named one of the best new chefs, whatever. And he's looking at her as if they had already announced that it was her. And frankly, I stopped for a second. I was like, did I miss it? Did they already say her name? Because he was looking at her with such, certainty. And the thing is, he has so much faith in her. He believes in her in a way that, yeah, okay, the whole poor guy, poor, tortured soul, poor tortured artist, and how sexy it is that he's a tortured artist and, whatever, that he admires her in a way that he could never think to admire himself.
Yeah.
But it's also just the fact that he admires her so deeply, regardless of how he feels about himself. Because, yes, he may be a tortured artist, but he knows that he's a damn good chef. In the scene in the alley where, where he says, yeah, I could totally take Shapiro. Are you kidding me? I'm miles better than him. And it's not, a braggadocious thing as in, acting like he's better. He's just, empirically proven to be better than Shapiro. So the whole tortured artist thing, yes, absolutely, but not when it comes to this, not when it comes to recognizing talent. He knows that Sydney is somebody that he can look up to. But the way that he looks at her, it's not just that professional admiration that, and also that pride in I know this person who is so good that she's being recognized by other people. It's also, I think, in my opinion, a very tender look. there's also a lot of emotion behind it beyond feeling proud of her and beyond being in admiration of her. I think that there is something softer and there's something more, deeper, and it goes beyond friendship. And I think it would be silly to overlook that and to pretend that it's a completely platonic, hey, that's my girl bro. That's my bro girl. She's my bud pal girl type. No, get out of here with that.
Yeah, it's that look of because and it's the way it's shot too, and it's just so everybody is looking at Nat except for him, and she doesn't even realize he's looking at her, and that also works really well. And just the way he's just there's no way it could be anybody else. Of course, it's going to be Sid. And I think it also calls back to the fact that she's so adamant about getting a star, and and he's just that doesn't matter. And then he hyper fixates on that in season 3. But I think, he's just that would be the step for you to get to that place. And I want you to get to that place because Carmy has a lot of issues. Carmy is not a healthy person, but Carmy, deep down, really, when he loves people, when he cares about them, he cares about them with his whole being. Yeah. And he wants her to have everything that she could ever possibly want. And that's a lot of what you see in that, I think, is that look of yay, and maybe she'll finally understand how great she is the other part of it too.
Right.
Because she has no clue how great she is. Just like he has no clue. I mean, he does to an extent, but yeah. But for me, so I'm not going to pick the whole under the table scene because I really do think it kind of goes without saying that is a Sid
That's
Carmy
easy
scene.
pickings.
Yeah, but the part afterwards when he gets her the chef coat and jacket, because to him, he, even though I do think when they were cooking together, I do think there's a part of him that left that out there just so she could see that.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
It's totally that whole oh, look how great I am. And, oh, you noticed that. I didn't leave that out there.
Oh, how odd.
And then little blushing because he blushes all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. But him getting that and just how, I've looked at people talking about it, and that's an expensive flippin' thing to get her. That's really expensive. And that he went to the trouble to do that. He pulled a favor. And just the fact that he says, "You're not alone, Sid." And just him saying that, I think just spoke volumes because they just were incredibly vulnerable with each other. And Sid is not instantly vulnerable with people like that. And he recognizes that. And her saying it back to him too is this reciprocation of that feeling. And it's just a little brief moment. And just even the way that he puts his hand on the box, there's just something so kind and gentle and loving about it, So it's, yeah, I mean, honestly, if I was dating a guy and they were doing this kind of stuff with another person.
Oh my God.
I'd be you don't love me. What am I?
But also it's how they say that if a boy bullies you in school, he's in love with you, and how completely wrong that is because it's so messed up. This is more if a little boy he finds his a rock that he thinks is beautiful on the ground and he gives it to you, that's the thing.
Yes, that's in a particular fanfic.
Oh my God.
I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that.
That's so funny though.
I just spoiled something for you, but it's actually kind of sad.
That cracks me up. That is hilarious because that just goes to show you that everything has been written.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the one. I like any scene when they are talking in sync or when they're kind of, but I am particularly I mean, it's not really even a romantic scene or anything, but in the first episode of season 4, when they are talking about, when Richie's talking about the people that no longer, those names, I can't remember the names now, and they both say the names in sync. Who the hell are, and David, I think David's one of them. And then they start talking about it. It's just the way they say it. Like, who the fuck are they? And they do that all the time, like constantly.
They're
I don't
so
even think they're
in
aware.
sync.
Yeah, I don't even
Yes.
think they're aware they do that. They have no idea, but they're constantly doing that. So I know it's kind of like a silly throwaway moment, but I just love when they do that kind of stuff with each other. It really speaks volumes to how close they are without even realizing how close they are. They have no idea. That's the thing about them, is they don't know how in sync they are and how like, perfectly aligned they are. And then for the last one, there were so many that I was trying to decide between, but this is also in the first episode of season 4 when they are finally really like talking, like in the very, like it's close to the beginning. And, it's quiet in the kitchen and she comes in there and he's just standing there and he instantly like does the sorry thing. And I love that she's like, no, we're not going to just do that and just brush it aside. We're going to really talk. And that they talk and that she's like saying you like chaos and he's like, no, I really don't like chaos. And her saying, what do you like? I'm saying this. And it is like this moment of like, I don't think he really realizes entirely what he's saying. And it's this moment of like, well, really what I like is peace. I like quiet. I like being in sync with someone. I like being able to cook with someone where we can read each other's minds and we compliment your face and we compliment each other. And then her just being like, that was probably the least like enthusiastic delivery of that line possible. But I think it's because Carmy doesn't realize all the implications of what that means because he's not at a place yet to really be there. And I think that's a lot of what season 4 is about for him, is realizing that he needs to get into that place. But it's just a simple little exchange. And the fact that she's not instantly like, oh, really? First off, that would not fit her character, but
No.
just she doesn't swoon at it. She's more like, hey, if you are going to say that and if that's the way you're going to be, you have to believe that a lot more than you are letting on right now. Because I don't believe you. I don't believe you when you say that, even though it is the truth. He's just not at that point where he can admit why he enjoys that so much, as opposed to the chaos that he seems to surround himself with. Because he grew up with chaos.
Yes. Oh,
He was born into chaos, and Carmy is a very, very, very sensitive person and very shy. He's incredibly shy. And so I think for someone like that to grow up in a house that he did, it's like he's always around chaos and he doesn't actually like that, but then he doesn't know how to be in the world. And then he meets Sid and he can feel that connection without the chaos, but he doesn't know fully how to express it. And I think that's kind of the beginning of him expressing it. And I just really love that scene between the two of them.
yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the characters individually because I just wanted to talk about them as individuals. So, yeah.
Coca-Cola. For the big, for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists. For long-distance love. For introverts and extroverts. The thinkers and the doers. For old friends and new. Coca-Cola. For everyone. Pick up some Coca-Cola at a store near you.
So good, so good, so good.
Give big, save big with Rack Friday deals at Nordstrom Rack. For a limited time, take an extra 40% off red tag clearance for a total savings up to 75% off. Save on gifts for everyone on your list from brands like Vince, Cole Haan, Sam Edelman, and more. All sales final and restrictions apply. The best stuff goes fast, so bring your gift list and your wish list to your nearest Nordstrom Rack today.
Okay, so we're going to talk about each character individually, apart from them as a ship. So what are your thoughts on Sid, Carla?
Sid is fascinating. I think she is such an interesting character. I love the way that she's written. She's not a damsel in distress. She's also not a savior. The whole idea of Sid being Carmy's piece is dispelled repeatedly throughout the show. Because yes, he finds peace in her, but she's not there to be that for him. She is there for her own reasons. She has her own strong motives as a character. She has her own arc. She has a life outside of the bear and outside of the family of the bear. She has options. She has many things she could do with her life that have nothing to do with Carmy. She could, frankly, leave and never speak to these people again and have a full and happy life. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Because the idea that, especially in hetero pairings, that a woman has to be the piece for the man and that she has to be the one who, pulls him out of this chaotic spiral and helps to ground him and helps make him a better person is so... If it were, a now and then thing where it happens with a character here or there, but it happens so often that it's really a pretty much like anti-woman thing, in my opinion, because it posits that a woman is supposed to be steady and can never waver and can never have issues or problems of her own, and that she has to do this for the sake of a man. So I love that, she has her own things. She's not a perfect character by any stretch of the imagination, because she is very sarcastic and she is quick to, push people away when she feels like they're getting too close to her. Her own father, when she finally moves out of his place and she's like, oh, I can go back to living my own big adult life now. She, her not getting back to him when he's calling her repeatedly. I think, yeah, she was very busy in that moment. She had a lot going on. But I think that she also didn't want to end up falling back into, oh, I have to move back in with dad. I can't make it on my own. I think that was her trying to that was her having a second adolescence where she's, reasserting her independence as a person. So I love that about her. I love that she is not a straightforward character. She's complicated. She has those moments of jealousy that she doesn't recognize as jealousy for the reasons for which she is jealous. Anytime that Claire was brought up, it was like, oh, Claire, tell me more about this Claire. Oh, the girl who is not your girlfriend is just a girl who is a friend and is Claire, and in the moment, it's funny. And yes, absolutely it is, because Claire is distracting Carmy from this project that they're supposed to be invested in together, and that she has let herself throw herself into, because Carmy had made a promise that he couldn't do this without her and that he was going to be all in with her. And anytime Claire comes up, that's kind of blown out of the water. It's like, oh, Claire's here. Hi, your girl who is a friend and is maybe a girlfriend, Claire, is here. You want to go talk to her? You want to go talk to Claire? Oh, because I could do this right now. I could do this chef thing right now. You go talk to your girlfriend. So yes, absolutely. Professional distraction still. There's, I think, a trace of jealousy that she's not quite recognizing, because she's not quite seeing it, because she has other things on her mind. She's fresh off of many disappointments in her own life. She has tried to get her own business off the ground, and it hasn't gone to plan. And I think that when that happens once, that's hard to take. When it happens repeatedly, you start to wonder whether you're good enough. It becomes a personal thing. It's not just, oh, it was COVID, so everything was getting shut down. It's not just most restaurant and food type businesses fail within the first 5 years. It's not just a statistical thing. It's a personal thing. Because yes, she's an excellent businesswoman, but she is first and foremost a chef. So for her, this is her heart and soul going into something and getting stomped. So she has a lot of, building herself back up that she needs to do. And she's vulnerable and desperately trying to not be vulnerable.
Yeah, I really like that. She's vulnerable and desperately trying not to be vulnerable. I think that's the perfect way to describe Sid. That is the perfect way. Because what's so interesting about her is she doesn't say until like the 9th episode of season 2, no one that she works with knows that her mom is dead. No
Right.
one knows. She like doesn't even want to be vulnerable in that area.
When her dad has a heart attack, she doesn't want anybody to know.
No. And Carmy waits about 2 seconds.
You can't tell that man anything.
Dude, it's like instantly, like, because he's trying to, oh, she got a phone call. Dude. It's like, yeah, please don't tell anyone. I won't. She got a phone call. What do you mean she got a phone call? Her dad had a heart attack, okay?
So you're twisting it out of me, okay? Like, oh my God.
But yeah, she doesn't even want to be vulnerable with that. Like, she doesn't even say, and then when she does say it, Carmy is so like, I should have known that. Why? I'm so sorry. I should, like, he acts like she told him and he just forgot, you know? Because it is something you would expect to hear. But I understand that. It's like this feeling of like, if she's vulnerable and if she shows that maybe people won't trust her to be a success or trust her as a chef or trust her in the kitchen. And like you said, she had that huge failure with her catering company and she had to go back and live at home with her dad and her credit is shot. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's why credit numbers, it's such a horrible thing because it really can make you feel like an absolute failure, you know, if your credit is not as perfect as other people's or something. And so because of that, she really has this wall up around her and she doesn't let as many people in, especially in the business world and in the chef world. Because when you see her outside of that, that's why I'm so glad we got that episode Worms in season 4. When you see her outside of that, she's a lot more relaxed and not as reserved and not as like, nope, I got to be, you know, 100,000 times better than everybody here. And I can't show any kind of vulnerability. And I can't really say what's going on with me. And I can't really tell you how I feel. I'll kind of tell you, but I'm not going to completely tell you. And I mean, I think she breaks some of that down with Carmy because she just can't help it, but she still hasn't told him like at all. You know, it's interesting because people will talk about, you know, Sid and the way she talks to Carmy when she's around Carmy and then how she talks about Carmy when Carmy's not there. And you really see that when she's talking to Donna and she's just like raving about him. And she did that with Richie in season 1. Like, no, he's great. He's this. But to his face, she's not going to do that because that would be very vulnerable. He would see that and she would feel like he might think less of her. Like, oh, she's just following me around like a little, you know, puppy dog kind of thing. Or like, she just looks up to me and she's just, you know, I'm her hero. And so I'm not going to respect her as much. And it's understandable that she wouldn't do that. That's why I don't consider it like a lie. I don't consider it like something that's being withheld from someone that I want him to eventually know it, but it's not something that I feel is being cruelly withheld from him at all. It's not something that like he has to know or he won't be able to survive the world kind of thing. So it makes sense that she would keep that close to her vest. But she's also very inspiring. She like her relationship with Tina is so interesting to watch because when they first meet, Tina is like so defensive and like, nope, this is the way it's always been done. Get out of here. You're young. You don't know what you're talking about. And this was our system. Get the hell out of here. You think you're all fancy and better than us. And then you watch that when Sid basically says to Tina, you're going to be the new Sid when they're opening, and Tina's genuine reaction of like hugging her and being so excited, and Sid kind of taken aback by that, like not sure yet she should really let her guard down. And you see that a lot with her with as far as like physical affection. I think she's very afraid of that because that's also vulnerable. Like you see that when she goes to the Ever funeral and Carmy arrives and he tries to give her a hug. And it's like a really awkward hug because she looks very much like, I don't know. And then,
why are you touching me, coworker?
yeah, we shouldn't be doing this, even though you hugged me like very tightly when we finally passed the fire suppression test. But still, and so you see that with her, that even that is being too vulnerable. And I think it's not just the work thing. I think it's also, I think for people, having known people that have lost parents at a young age, I think that also plays a part in it. Is if you let people too close, you might lose them. And you don't want to have too many people in your life to lose. And the most vulnerable you ever see Sid, and this is why it irks me to no end that Carmy wasn't there at the hospital. And not even as a shipping thing, just, that it had to be with Claire that she shared this with. But the most vulnerable, the most vulnerable you see her is at the hospital when she's crying and feeling guilty and feeling like she's let her dad down, which she hasn't, but feeling that way. And then she instantly goes into that, like, she probably growing up with a dad without the mom there, she might have had to act like another parent figure sometimes with her dad, and immediately going, okay, I'll move right back in.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad her dad wasn't like, okay.
Can you imagine? Like, no. Oh my God.
No. So yeah, and she's a fierce protector of people she cares about. And when she really cares about someone, she does not bullshit at all. She's not about bullshitting. That's why, her saying that she wants Richie to be a partner is such a huge thing because, well, she stabbed Richie in the butt. I love their friendship. Their friendship is one of my favorite things because it's like not what you expected when you watched it in the beginning. And it is so natural. It's just completely natural, not forced. And her seeing Richie's value and worth before he sees his value and worth is so amazing. And she doesn't bullshit. She's not like, okay, yes, let me just feel sorry for you, Richie, because she's not going to do that. That's not who Sid is. And I think that's another reason that like people respect her and admire her and want to work for her.
Yes.
And she's also she doesn't have the toxicity of other chefs. She doesn't have the yelling, screaming. Sometimes she gets frustrated, but she doesn't have that of other chefs in that world. And then I also, going a little bit to that, I also just want to point out with her, when she tries to smoke a cigarette, to me,
oh my God, that was so funny.
It's one of the best Sid moments ever because I'm not encouraging smoking. Although, let me tell you, this show makes me want to smoke again so badly. Nobody smokes like Jeremy Allen White. Nobody smokes like him on screen. But when she's like so determined, I'm going to get good at this. I'm actually going to learn how to smoke. It's part of her defiance of like, you know what? Let me just see why you're the way you are. I think it's also her way of connecting to all these chefs she knows smokes.
Yeah.
And a chef that she admires smokes. And all these people smoke in this family. So let me just like get to know that side of it. And I know I can do this because I can do anything. And she's just like stubborn too. And she's just determined. I am going to get better at this. I'm going to learn how to smoke. And I love that though when it's like, Carmy just passes it to her towards the end, and Richie's just like, what are you doing?
You don't smoke. Hey, her response killed me. I'm not going to repeat it, but like,
no.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it because, oh my God, it is amazing.
But then her coughing and then Richie being like, what are you doing? But you can see that Sid would be someone that would be like, no, I'm going to keep trying until I get to that point where I can blow smoke rings. And but yeah, so I love this character and the performance is, of course, amazing. And I also think it's interesting watching her when she's vulnerable in the scene in Goodbye and she's crying. She's on the verge of crying and she turns away. She will not look at Carmy. And I think that also speaks to that, her wanting to be so strong and not show an ounce of vulnerability. And I hope she feels safe enough to eventually show some of that vulnerability just for her own peace of mind, But I love her. I think she's fantastic. And all the complaints about her, you know why you're making those complaints. It's like, I mean, really, these people are lucky she hasn't just been like, peace out, fuck you all.
Right?
They're so lucky. I mean, I wouldn't want her to go to Shapiro because I think he's an asshole, but dude, I cannot stand that guy.
I mean, there wouldn't even be a restaurant anymore if Sid hadn't come in. So,
Exactly. And I'm glad she was told that. I just wish she actually heard that. I don't think she heard that.
For real. Yeah.
I really wish she would hear that. That's my wish for her, is to be as confident as she wants the world to think she is. I want her to actually feel that confidence. I want her to actually know, and I'll say a little bit of this when we get to how I would want them to get together, but I want her to actually know how talented she is, because she has no clue. She doesn't really see how incredible she is because all she's focused on is the failures. I mean, she got into the CIA, not the CIA.
Not the spy CIA, the cooking one.
Yeah. And I mean, that's like really hard to get into. And she got into that. But she doesn't see that. All she sees is that Sheridan Road failed. And so she can't see how amazing she is, So that's my wish for her. Okay. So let's get to Carm.
That's on his birth certificate, in case anybody was wondering.
So, Carla, your thoughts on Carmy?
Part of the reason why this show is so good is because he is such a good character. And of course, both Io and Jaw are fantastic in their performances with their respective characters. But there's something so special about Carmy, because I think that this particular character and this show really lets the story breathe. There isn't, it's not rushed. Like, they're not rushing to make him quote unquote well. They're not rushing to get him to a point at which he is just magically better and therefore things can be good now. They're really taking him on a journey, and it's a very emotional journey. And that's, a huge reason why it's so successful, I think. It's why it's successful, and it's also something that people overlook. Because I think people really, the whole criticism of season 3 being so slow, and it's like, oh, it's not as good as seasons 1 and 2. It's because people are very focused on the chaos that was seasons 1 and 2. Those were a reflection of Carmy's state of mind and of where he was emotionally and mentally. And season 3, I think, is a fascinating season because you really get to know these characters on a deeper level, and you get to see them at the cusp of a big change. And with a character like Richie, like season 2 is when he starts to change. Like early in season 2, he goes through his big revelation and he starts to really become the better version of himself that we're seeing now. Because you contrast season 4 Richie and season 1 Richie, it's a whole different person. And the motivations are still there. Like he wants to provide for his daughter. He wants to be there for his family. Like he's all about family. The reason that I'm bringing up Richie is just to say this is a character who changed very rapidly. And the reason that we're able to latch on to him as somebody that we care about so much is because of that change. With Carmy, he didn't need to make that change as a character because you were invested in him and liked him from the first episode. Richie really did need to see that change. Him and Tina, you needed to see that change. Otherwise, you would have detested them all the way through. But you needed them to go through that first. Carmy is going through it a lot more slowly. He has not made a lot of change. He's changed, but not tremendously. It only feels tremendous because of where we started and how deep we are with him as viewers, and because he's the main character. But I think that's something that gets very overlooked, is that just because the show changes, it doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just a different facet of it. We're not watching an actual comedy. Like, people keep forgetting, this is not a comedy. I don't care what they say at the awards shows. This is not a comedy. There really needs to be a separate category for dramedies because, first of all, they're just taking up space where actual comedy creators and actors don't get the recognition that they deserve, but also because it needs to be recognized for what it is. And in a sitcom, you can have like a repetitive season after season, not quite copy paste, but something like that. With a show like this, you can't. Like, it would exhaust the story. And I think that we would honestly run out of patience with it if it were just season one over and over and over again. And Carmy, he goes through this very slow journey, but even though he's not changing fast, the way that he deals with the world is changing fast. Internally, he's still the same person, I think, but externally, like he's changing from like the outside in, which is very interesting to me because I think a lot of shows and just media in general, they work backwards. It's inside out, which is both ways are valid because people can change either from outside in or inside out. There's no wrong way to become a better person as long as you're becoming a better person. With him, he's reacting to things around him and he's letting things affect him. So he's letting himself be affected by all of these people who just want to love him. There are all of these people who are just, trying to break down the doors of his mind fridge, of his heart fridge.
Oh, that's the best.
They're trying to get through the steel doors of his mind and heart fridge. But yeah, they're just trying to break through to him and get him to see that you are loved. We love you. We know you're dealing with a lot. We're here for you. We will wait you out. We're there with, like, Nat, I think, is like the most active, but she's also the most, it's the easiest for her because she's his sister. Everybody else has a different relationship with him, but a sibling relationship is very special. And yeah, Richie, he's very deeply involved with the family, but he's not his sibling. Like, nobody can really see quite what he needs the way that Nat can. And Nat is also just she's been forced to be very maternal, which is a whole other story. But she's very maternal with Carmy, where she's like, you really need to go to these sessions. You really need to go. And she pushes him because she knows that it'll help him. And it's when he starts going to them that he starts making changes that will improve his life. He lets himself open up to Claire. And yes, this is the Sid Carmy special, okay? But Claire plays an essential function in this show because if he doesn't open himself up in that way with somebody, then it just feels very disingenuous with Sid. It doesn't feel right. Like he has to kind of confront that part of himself before he can, I think, deserve to feel that all out with Sid. And Nat's influence, the very last episode of season 4, where, she was sad that she thought that he hadn't gone to Mikey's funeral, but she wasn't going to rub it in his face. She wasn't going to make him feel bad for it. She was just trying to see it from his perspective and be like, that's what he needed. That's what he needed to do. It's, I'll be there for him regardless. Like, he left for another city and it's like, okay, well, that, I'm very proud of you. She's supporting him emotionally all the way. And he needs that from somebody, and that's going to be Nat. So all of these things that he's taking in and are changing him, yeah, it's affecting him, and it's like seeping down finally to the core of him, to where he can feel like he can be free to move on from the shackles that are the bear and the restaurant industry. Yes, he was desperate to like go into it with his brother, but it wasn't so much about the industry or the restaurant as it was about being with his brother. Like, he just wanted to do something with his brother. And the more that Mikey pushed him away, the more that he thought that he wanted it. It's not Mikey's fault because Mikey was going through a lot himself. But I think that if Mikey had been more receptive and open to whatever it was that Carmy was trying to establish, that Carmy wouldn't have been so desperate at the beginning of the show to make the beef work and then to make the bear work. because he's punishing himself for something that is not his fault. And he's finally getting to the point where he's accepting that, oh, Mikey's struggles had nothing to do with me. And he's finally getting to the point where he can forgive himself, even though he has nothing to forgive himself for. So at the end of season 4, where we're leaving him, he is so much more calm and he's so much more present, I think. And, season 5, if it ends up being the last season, honestly, would be great, because I think that there's a huge value in shows ending in a natural place. Like with Schitt's Creek, it ended in a perfect spot. It ended, they didn't try to drag it out for another couple of seasons just for kicks. It ended in a perfect place. The Good Place is another show that ended right when it needed to. So if The Bear ends in season 5, because we're finally leaving Carmy in a place where he has healed to the point where he can actually live his life for himself and not for other people, and allow joy and happiness and love into his life organically, then I think that that's the right place to end it.
Yeah, I mean, as sad as I would be, only because I just discovered this show.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. It's like, because I just discovered this show this year, I think that's why I feel that way. But in all honesty, I think season 5 would be the perfect place to stop it. And, season 3 is so interesting to me because I didn't when I was watching this show for the first time, I didn't look at any online stuff or any reviews. And so when I found out that people didn't like season 3 that much, it blew my mind, because I was in love with it. Because I think what it is people want, first off, with this show, they got so used to the first 2 seasons being a lot more chaotic and a lot more energetic in a way. And so they didn't like the fact that season 3 was a lot more character driven. But this whole show is character driven, not plot driven anyway. But I think season 3 is really what showed that. And so it makes me sad that people don't love season 3 like I love season 3. And, I mean, there are faults with this show for sure. Like with every show, there are things you can critique and everything. But to me, this show is nearly perfect. And a lot of that is Carmy, because Carmy is the main protagonist. Carmy isn't my favorite character. That's Richie. But Carmy is the main protagonist, and you have to like him, even when he makes it very hard sometimes to like him. But he is like an open, walking, talking wound. He is so wounded, and he's never, ever acknowledged that he's wounded. And he's the youngest sibling out of 3 siblings. And I think because he's so shy and he had a stutter and he never felt like he fit in, I think he probably, in a loud household that he was in, faded a lot into the background. And I think once he found out that he could cook and he was good at it, he just clung on to that as a way for him to be noticed and be seen. It's almost like he feels like any kind of actual human connection or feeling is going to lead to just pain and chaos. So I'm just going to focus in on just being a chef. And that'll be my connection to the world, is doing that. And especially the fact that his brother, who is his hero, shuts him out. And his brother, he probably thought of as a father figure too, on top of it. And so his brother shuts him out of the restaurant that he wants to go to because he wants to be with his brother. And that to Carmy is like a knife in the heart to him. And I think a big reason Mikey did that is Mikey didn't want him to be stuck there. He saw that Carmy was better, but he never fully expressed that to Carmy. But you see that in some of the flashback scenes. You can see it. And so Carmy is this walking wound who has no self-esteem really, and probably and you get the feeling from conversations and from what he said, probably was the person that in school just kind of sat in the corner, and everybody kind of had their own inkling of who he was. And maybe there was legends because of his brother and his sister maybe even, but he was always the unknown element in there because he didn't talk that much. And that's why, people have criticized Jeremy Allen White's performance when he stutters a lot, when he and I'm like, well, he said he stuttered when he was younger. I really think that's a leftover vestige of that. Plus, he's so nervous anytime he speaks, anytime he has to say anything. He's so nervous because he doesn't feel like he's a valid human being. And when you don't feel like you are valid and you have a place in this world outside of one gift that you have, it's hard to really talk, and to really say the words you want to say. And I think all the performances on this show are fantastic. I do. Everyone is amazing. But I really think this is one of the best television performances I've seen in my life. I think he is on a different level. There's stuff that he does that just blows my mind. When he has the conversation with his mom in season 4, when she's trying to apologize to him, when you see the closed caption, you see that he's saying fuck a couple times and his hands are shaking and his eyes are watering. And he does this where he says so much without a single word. Like he's trying so hard to sit there in that moment. He's forcing himself to. Carmy in season 1 wouldn't have done that. And that's one of those subtle changes. So he's forcing himself to sit there and hear this from this person who's so toxic, who he still should cut out of his life. I don't think Donna needs to be in her children's lives, but he's sitting there and he needs to hear this. This is something he needs to hear. And he's forcing himself to, but it's taking everything in him to sit there. And you can see that with the way he's shaking. And it's such an incredible performance because I know everybody talks about Jamie Lee Curtis. And yes, she's good, but that's a very loud performance.
Yeah.
What Jeremy Allen White does in that moment is a very quiet performance. And to me, that's more impactful than what she's doing. And he's also not a very selfish actor. So he's so amazing to watch because he's such a fantastic actor. I really had never seen, I had because he's in this movie called The Rental. That's a fun little horror movie. If you're going to stay in an Airbnb, though, don't watch it.
Noted.
I saw him in that, but I didn't watch Shameless. So I was not familiar with him at all, really, until watching this. And I was just like, holy shit, this guy is incredible. He's so good. And I don't mean that as a way to put down the other actors because I think they're all fantastic. I just think he is in this other league. Like we talked about, it's like a performance reminiscent of Jensen Ackles as Dean Winchester. And it's so incredible to watch. And anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked by just talking about the performance, but I don't think the character would work as well without that performance because he adds so many layers that I think are even beyond what's written on the page. But Carmy is changing, but it is subtle changes. And I think that's where some of the criticism comes in is he's not changing at all, but he is. It's just a lot subtler and it's a lot more realistic to the way people are, especially someone who has been through so much trauma. He has complex PTSD, which is a whole other level from PTSD. And so he has that. And so when you have that and you're not dealing with it and you've never dealt with it, it's going to take a long time, like baby steps. And he's finally trying. And I know, I've talked before on our episodes how I don't like Claire because I just think she's so thinly written. So it's not even a shipper thing. It's just, I have a hard time with her because I can't connect with her. But that said, she's very essential to this story for Carmy. His conversation with her in season 4, when he goes to apologize to her, is essential. That's an essential scene for him to have to be able to recognize what he did in this relationship and how he hurt her, and to acknowledge how he hurt her and how he held himself back from really being fully there and present as far as 100% himself. And how he ran from that and how he felt like he couldn't have that happiness. And he needed to have that conversation. He needs to have that closure with Claire before he could even imagine having any kind of real relationship with Sid, let alone anybody.
Yeah.
And I also think Claire represents so much of his childhood and his youth, because you see when they go to the party, and it's one of the first times you see Carmy be kind of goofy, and when he is pretending to be that person that they mistook him for, and he just goes along with it and invents this whole character. That's the side of Carmy you haven't ever seen before. So it's he's kind of oh, this is maybe could have been who I would have been in high school if I could have just let go a little bit. And so that's why I think it's the Claire of it all is kind of essential to that. I don't want them to be together. I don't. But I think painting Claire as a villain or painting her as some other kind of weird thing, or saying that Carmy doesn't care for her saying Carmy doesn't care for her or doesn't love her is such utter bullshit, because it's plain as day that he cares about her and loves her.
It doesn't have to be endgame, but you can't take that away from him. My God, get a grip.
Exactly. It's to me, it's kind of insulting to the character to say that he's just kind of going to be with her because he kind of feels forced to make his family happy, which is
that's so silly.
What? And that also is insult. That also makes the character look like a total dickhead.
Yes. So... Is that what you want? Is that the kind of man you want him to be?
So, yeah, I mean, I could talk about Carmy a lot more. And someday we talked about this when we did the very first Bear episode, that I do want to do individual episodes for every character. Maybe not the facts, but
yeah.
I don't know. Teddy Fact, I don't think we could do a whole
thanks.
episode on Teddy Fact.
No, thank you.
But yeah, I do love this character. I do think he deserves to get real therapy, not just Al-Anon. I really want him to get real therapy for himself. I think he would really benefit from it. And I'm really glad that he went to Al-Anon, I want to say, because that's breaking so many usual tropes where it would have taken until season 4 for him to actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very glad that he did that. Okay, well, I know this kind of seems redundant since we talked about why do you ship them, but why do you think they should be together then? After all that talk about them as individuals, why would we do this?
Why would we do this to Sid?
Exactly. That's the main thing.
Hasn't she suffered enough? Well, here's the thing. I don't think that they should be together. I think they would be great together. I don't think it's, I think it's one of those things where I want them to be together. I would love for that to happen. And frankly, I think it's the idea that, oh, well, that's not what the show is about. The show is about other stuff, and it's about grief and da-da-da. And it's it can be about that. And you can also have them end up together. I think a lot of the times when people, even writers, even the creator, I don't care. When even the people involved in the show, when there's a thing of, I don't think that they should end up together, I always look at who is part of the ship. Is it a queer ship? Is it an interracial ship? Those things, I think, do matter. I think that, you can try to intellectualize it all you want and say, no, because he needs this and he needs that. And it's okay, fantastic. That's not telling me why they can't be together. And I think you cannot discount the fact that Io Debris is a dark-skinned Black woman. And that even in 2025, or maybe even especially in 2025, there is a lot of pushback against the idea of a dark-skinned Black woman deserving anything, let alone love and admiration. I think it's especially galling with white people who claim to be progressive or liberal or anything, even slightly left-leaning. They're well, I'm not racist. It's saying you're not racist doesn't make you not racist. In fact, saying it repeatedly without examining the ways in which you might be perpetuating racism, that's racist. Which is not to say that every single person, especially white people who don't like the ship, are racist. But there's, always the question in my mind of okay, have you really examined why you don't want them together. Because I think that if Sydney were played by a white woman, there would be a lot stronger support for their ship. Especially, can you imagine if Claire was a Black woman? Like, forget it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, like, forget it. It would be a whole different ballgame. But as far as why I personally think that they should be together, I will tell you why, okay? This will be just between you and me, all right? The actors are really hot. And and I'll tell you even more. Jaw is not my kind of hot. Like, I don't personally find him hot, but he has hot vibes.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, like, he's no Adam Pally, but okay. No, I love their chemistry. I think they're so, just anytime that they're in a scene together, I get like all hee hee hee, oh my gosh, look at them just hanging out, talking to each other. Like, they don't have to be doing anything, and I'm like a giggly mess. So for me, they should be together because I enjoy seeing them together. I enjoy, imagining point at which Carmy has worked through a lot of his stuff and is finally at a place where he can receive love and accept it and make a part of his life without also making himself or anybody else miserable.
Yeah.
Little things.
Going back a little bit, and I'll find it and I'll put a link in the show notes, but there's a great TikTok of this creator talking about how, because a lot of people that ship this have said, I'm being straight baited. This is being straight baited. And she talks about how, well, that's what happens a lot when you have a Black woman and a white man in a ship, is it feels like that. Because and I think she used the example of like Sleepy Hollow, or someone in the comments
oh, God,
did.
Yes. Oh, that was an egregious one.
Yeah, so I'll link that. And I don't know if I've shared that with you, Carla, because I just remembered it because it was before you started watching, but I'll have to send that to you. Because I do think there is, without a doubt, racism in why people don't ship them. I mean, it's just plain and clear, because you can't say this show is not about romance, I don't want people together, and then in the same breath say you want Richie and Jess together. Because that makes no sense. Then you wouldn't want anybody together. You'd be like, I don't want anyone to get together. But
nobody touches anybody.
A lot of the same people that are like, no, I don't want any relationship. And I'm not talking about the people that have been on my panels, because I just think because a lot of the reason they don't is because of Carmy's kind of, he's not a healthy person. So it's understandable. Okay, it's understandable why people wouldn't want them together for that reason. But a lot of people that will say that this is not a show about romance, and why can't people be friends? Will then be like, well, Richie and Jess should be together, and I'm like, why is that?
Right,
different?
Like, why is that?
What's the difference there? Think about it for just a second. What the big difference is in that ship, and also if you want a friendship, you have got Richie and Sid right there. If you want to see,
yes. And they have an adorable friendship. Are you kidding me? Just any time that they interact in the episode with Tiff's wedding.
Oh, yes.
It's magic.
Dancing together. You also have Sid and Marcus. You have Nat and Marcus. I mean, Nat's just very protective of Marcus, because we should all be protective of Marcus.
She also protects the facts, so I think like her standards are questionable, but I'm kidding.
And I want to say, I would actually be fine if Sid hooked up with Luca, which I know everybody, that's the Marcus and him and everything. And I'm fully in support of that too.
I was going to say, he belongs to Marcus, so I don't know what you're talking about.
And you're right. I think it should be why you want them together, because in all honesty, there is a lot of reasons not to have these two people get together because of how unhealthy Carmy is. And I love Carmy, but Carmy is not a healthy person. On the shallow side, I think they need to earn the fact that they are on FX, and they need to just have hot sex.
Thank you. Oh my God.
These two would have like the hottest sex. If you read any fanfic with them, it's like plain as day. They would be obsessed with each other. So That's one of them. And they have such amazing chemistry anyway. And so that chemistry in the bedroom, I know we wouldn't see like.
And also people in the restaurant industry not getting it on, that is unrealistic.
Exactly. Yeah. We've pointed that out in episodes before that all these people would be fucking.
Yes, exactly.
It's so weird that
Yes. Like, this is like the most chaste kitchen I've ever encountered.
So that's the shallow part. The reason I would want them to be together as long as Carmy is at a healthier spot. That's why I'd be fine if it was just kind of the last episode or the last 2 episodes or something. But I think they actually can bring out the best in each other. They complement each other so well. I think if Carmy was in a healthy place, I think there would be no stopping them in what they could do together. I think they would be able to build like a beautiful partnership, a beautiful friendship. Like, I think they not only would love each other, but like each other. And I think the like part is so important. And I think they would make each other better and also accept each other's faults and love each other for each other's faults. And I just think it would be fire, to use the chef term.
Yes. It would be fire, chef.
They just, it's hard to explain like the whys, but they make sense to me. It's kind of like they're the missing puzzle pieces in each other's lives. But again, I think Carmy needs to do some more growth and some more healing. I don't think he's at the point where it'd be a healthy relationship. But I think when he would get to that point, they would be like it for each other. I think once they got together, that would be it. Because they're already so tuned into each other, especially Carmy, that when they would take it to that next level, it would be like soulmate level. It's like a soulmate relationship. I think they would still argue, but not in a bad way. And I just think they'd make each other better. And I think that's what a good partnership could do. And the sex would be amazingly hot.
Amazing. Yes.
I'm like you. Jeremy Allen White is not my type, but I understand why people find him attractive because he does have this sex appeal. There's something appealing about the way he blushes all the time. I don't know why that's appealing, but there's something appealing about that. And he's kind of got this softness to him. And so I understand why people are attracted to him. And Io is incredibly attractive. So
just gorgeous, like flat out.
Yeah. So it's like 2 incredibly attractive people who have insane chemistry getting together. Why not?
Yes.
That's the real question.
That's just math.
I mean, yes, I know I'm bad at math, not as bad as Carmy, but I do love that about him, though. The math stuff just kills me.
Oh, my God.
The whole scene between them when she's like, so we've got these apples, and then we need, and he's like, we don't even need apples. What about fennel? What about 6 fennel? And you can tell he's like, oh, yeah, no, I get it. And he totally doesn't get it.
It's so funny.
And when he's first doing the math at the beginning of season 2.
Oh, my God.
And then he makes that joke like, haha, I know, I knew it was actually this. He's so bad at math.
It's the best. It's just amazing writing.
Yep. Yeah, so we're going to take another quick break. And yeah, we're still going. This is a special episode, so, so we're going to come back, and I just want to know what 3 of our favorite fanfics, fan edits, or songs are. So we'll be right back.
When you walk into a Burlington, you're walking into amazing prices and great gifts. That's main character energy. Because at Burlington, the holiday savings aren't the only things turning heads. Discover quality finds and perfect presents for everyone on your list, even those who are hard to shop for. Toys and jewelry to new beauty brands and styles, these gifts go seamlessly from our stores to under your tree. Seriously, with these savings, why shop anywhere else?
Burlington deals, brands, wow.
Okay, Carla. So I don't know how many I know one fanfic that you read because you told me, and I know one that you are reading, but I don't know if you've read any others. So what are 3 of your favorite fanfics, fan edits, or songs?
I'm going with songs because I've finished completely exactly one fanfic and I did love it. It was unbelievably hot, but I did specifically make a playlist of songs. So that's what I'm going with. So
That's why I put songs on here, by the way.
Which
I was
blessings
hoping you'd
on
mention
your
it.
head because I really appreciate that. Because, okay, listen, me and playlists, I go wild with playlists. They become my entire life for however long it takes me to put them together. And then I'm always like, oh, I'm going to send you a playlist. And then it takes me a week and a half because it has to be perfect. But the 3 songs that I'm picking from this are, first of all, and I'm looking at the wrong playlist. So give me a second. There we go. Because here's the thing. All right. Like I have the master playlist and then I have the finished playlist. So I was looking at the master playlist. So I'm now looking at the finished one. The first song that I'm going to mention is Hot Knife by Fiona Apple. And that song to me is a very Sid song. And it's a song about, Fiona Apple says, if I'm butter, he's the hot knife. And then it goes backwards. If he's butter, I'm the hot knife. And it's not about slicing people. It's not a horror themed song. It's simply about like, oh, split me open, daddy. Like that kind of thing. But there is that element in it. But there's also a part where she says, you can relax around me. And I love that part because that is true for them. And again, it's not about her being his piece. It's about how when you find your person, you can be your most you around them. And I feel like he is definitely his most him around her. And I feel like, once he is deserving of that and she's able to open up and she can be her most self around him, it would be amazing. And I love that. The second song that I will mention is, I'm going to go with This Man by Graffiti 6. And that song, I just think, first of all, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. And it's basically a song of like, let me earn you, let me deserve you. Take this man, put your arms around me and we can be together and, I can be all of these things for you. And, in a very, high level way, people should be together because they are whole people individually and then they come together and then they become a whole different whole. But in a shippy way, like just let yourself be held by him and just, let yourself go and you can become one person even though you're both like still mending. It's not the healthy thing, but it's a hot thing. Okay. It's just a hot shippy thing. Let me have this. And then the song that made me create the playlist in the first place, which is Lover Please Stay by Nothing But Thieves. Now, this song will make you sob. This is a crying your eyes out song. This isn't a song about, it's in fact a song about losing somebody. It's about somebody, leaving your side. It's about somebody, of begging them to stay. And the reason that I thought of the song at all is because that scene in the alley where they're shouting at each other because they're both just so, they're letting a lot of things out. And yes, Richie comes and interrupts halfway through what I think could have been like a very revelatory conversation. But I think it's also good that he did that because then you're not revealing a lot of things that they're not ready to hear or say. But with this song, it's, take from me what you want, what you need, which to me, again, shippy way. This is my shippy brain. This is not my logical, what is fair for the person involved in the ship way. It's, if Sid is offering herself to him as she is, as he is, exactly as they are in that moment, just, lover, please stay with me. They're not lovers yet. Okay, listen, they're not there yet. Just, again, shipping. We're just shipping things, okay? We're just talking about that. It is just this beautiful, touching, gorgeous song, and it's about desperation and about how there's clearly something strong there. And that would mean Sid admitting to herself, let alone to Carmy, what he means to her. And that's all I want, man.
Yes, I did put song on there because I was hoping Carla would promote her playlist, but I didn't want to be outright and say it because I didn't want her to feel pressured to share her playlist.
I am happy to share that playlist. I was like, let me tell you, I am very proud of that dumb playlist, okay?
You should be. And if it's okay with Carla, I will put a link in the show notes because I know you made it public, but I just want to make sure. So,
yeah, go for it.
So for Sid Carmy shippers, I'll be putting that. And even if you're not, it's a great playlist anyway, but I'll put it in there. So that was why I put that on there because I was like, if Carla doesn't say anything, I'm going to say anything. So I do second everything that Carla said. It is a great playlist. And I think it's incredible that you did that. And I used to make like mixtapes was like my passion. I'd spend hours upon hours making sure it was like the right song flowing into the right song and all of that stuff.
That's why it took me a week and a half to get it to you. It didn't flow right, okay?
Yeah, I'd be like, this is not the right song to play after this one. Yeah. So I'll go ahead because I second the playlist that Carla created, but I'll go ahead and just mention 3 fanfics because when I started shipping them, I'm like, I'm not going to read fanfic. And then I went fanfic.
Famous last words.
Yes. And I'll save my favorite one, which is one that Carla has read, for last. But the first one I'll share is Rules for Fake Dating an Italian by Poor Little Greenie. And the summary is, and this is this wanted sign that Sid finds that says, female, age 20 to 30 to be my date for Christmas Eve dinner with my Italian-American family. Must be willing to eat my mom's cooking. No physical intimacy required. No strings attached. I will drive you home after. And then it's like salary negotiable. Call Carmen, or the one in which Sydney just needs a job and Carmy will die before he proves Richie right.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. It's like fake dating. I'm so in.
Yes, I know I've sent you this one, right? Haven't I sent you this one?
I don't think so.
No, I thought I had.
Maybe.
I'll have to send it to you again then. And it's primarily like, just to let you know, it's season 1 Richie more than this Richie we have now. Because Richie is a big part of this fic. But this is primarily from Sid's point of view, except for one chapter is from Carmy's point of view. And if you love fake dating tropes, this is the one where you will just love it because it's 2 idiots who they both really like each other and they can't admit that they like that they are. That's not fake. And it's also got, I don't know if Carla wants me to say this other cute little trope it's got in here in one scene.
Go for it.
One bed. There is. That's why
there was only one bed. No, this was. I know. Oh my God, I love it. It has like so many good tropes.
It's really good, and there's a lot of great inner workings with Sid because you'll find with a lot of fanfics in this fandom, a lot of them are from Carmy's point of view, or it's a mixture. And so I appreciated this one because it was primarily from Sid's point of view. The author put in the Carmy point of view because everybody said, I really just want a Carmy point of view. Just one chapter. So they put it in there, which it's a great chapter. But yeah, it's really good. It's got some heavy parts and stuff, but it's also kind of funny. And it's so perfect for both of them and the way they view each other. Like, some Sid Carmy fics, I can't even get through them. I have to stop them, to be honest, because they're so like flowery.
Mm.
And I just don't view these 2 as being that way, really, you know. So I really like that one. And then I'm going to do 2 by the same author because this is my favorite writer for this couple. There's one that's a work in progress that they've been on vacation, so they haven't updated it, and it's just killing me because it'll probably end up being my favorite one when they do finish it. But before I get to my favorite one, Everything Comes Back by Emma Swan 3. And this goes back and forth between points of view between Sid and Carmy. So basically, the summary is 6 meetings, 5 on accident, 1 on purpose. So there's a lot of fanfics out there where Sydney does leave and does go and take the job with Shapiro. So this is after Sydney leaves the Bear, she and Carmy keep colliding in restaurants and cities in versions of their lives that don't quite fit. The past follows them like heat. And I also want to just say, if you want good sex scenes, Emma Swan writes the best flippin' sex scenes. I mean, they are amazing. And also a fun little fact that there was a Tumblr post and I couldn't find it again. I saw it once. The one thing that all fanfic writers in this fandom can agree on is that Carmy likes to eat And he really likes heat.
Say no more.
He really does. And then, honestly, it's my favorite. It's probably, maybe it's because it's the first one I really read, but I also just think it's really hot and also kind of meaningful and deep. And that's the one that I know Carla has read, and that's Whiskey. It's by the same author of Everything Comes Back. So that one, it takes place immediately after the finale of season 4. And it also has a hot smoking scene. There are actually a lot of hot smoking scenes in this fandom, but just, where if you're familiar with the term shotgunning with cigarette smoke and where Carmy does that, it's very sexy and hot, and they're all, the right amount of nervous and idiots.
Yes. It's so
and one
good.
thing I appreciate so much about the good fanfics that I've read about them is a theme that comes up again and again is Carmy has no idea that he is attractive at all. He has no clue. And Sid is obsessed with how attractive he is. So it's like, it's really funny. And he's just like, no, you're absolutely gorgeous. What are you talking about? I'm not attractive at all. But you're gorgeous.
Troll.
Yeah. Oh, and the fake dating one, Carla. Oh my God.
Yes.
They have this connection before they had met. And I'm not going to spoil what it is because it's so great. You have to read that.
I cannot wait. Oh my God. I am so ready.
Even though it's rated M, I honestly think the author should have bumped up the rating to E when you get to the sex scene. But you can tell me if you think that's true or not. I was like, whatever, I don't care.
I will give you a review.
So those are my 3. But yeah, Emma Swan, I think, is the best, my favorite writer within that. There is another fic. I know I'm breaking the 3, but I just want to mention it because it's not for everyone. It's called The Wild Wild Berry, and it's about consensual poisoning. And I know that sounds like, what? But there's a lot of, you'll read in some of these fanfics that there's little tiny elements and hints at BDSM, and it makes sense with them. Frankly, it makes complete and utter sense, especially since usually it is Sid who's the more dominant one. Usually. There are a couple instances where it's not, but in The Wild Wild Berry, it's definitely Sid being that way. And there's a scene in there, Carla, when you were talking about one of your favorite Sid and Carmy scenes. And it's that when she stops him when he's like on a tirade, but it's dialed up.
Oh my.
Yes. So yeah. So if you know of any fanfics, please recommend them. I have gone to master lists, and I'm very picky with this ship with the way fanfic is because I don't think it should be flowery with these two. I'm not saying you can't have courty moments, but they are not like flowery people, if that makes sense.
For sure. No, I totally get that.
There has to be a lot of angst in it,
Yes.
It can't be just like instantly like Carmy's like, I've loved you forever.
They have to be pining looks.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Well, lastly is what I want to know is if they do end up together, Carla, how would you want it to happen?
Erin, first of all, I have already told you. So I'm basically just going to crib off of the long thing. No. I know. It's just so that everybody else knows what I told you. But I'm gonna give you the Cliff's Notes version of the novel that I sent to Erin that was supposed to just be a quick comment and ended up being a whole page. Here's what I think. Okay, you know how Carmy likes to draw and how he's very, very good at it. So I think Carmy leaves. He takes a sabbatical for X amount of weeks, months, and he just goes off and he just focuses on that and on his drawing and on art and just experiencing the world in that way. And then when he feels ready to come back, he's not ready to come back to chefing, as it were, but he's ready to come back to Sid and to the family and to being near the restaurant even. So he shows up at Sid's apartment. He waits for her outside very early in the morning. As she's leaving, she comes out and she's like, oh, hey, haven't talked to you in a while. What are you doing here? And he has this whole speech prepared about all of these things that this brilliant idea that he has is going to bring them together. And he's just, trying to be very cautious in how he approaches it. And instead, he just blurts out, how about you write a cookbook and I illustrate it? And friends, it is very effective because she immediately melts. Like she melts and she swoons right there at 6 a.m. or maybe earlier. I don't know how chef things work. Like very early in the morning outside of her apartment. And she's like, yeah, we could do that. Because inside, she's all melty. Outside, she's still trying to hold it together. And and Carmy's like, yeah? And she's like, yeah. And they just stand there and they stare at each other for a couple of minutes. And then he offers to walk her to the train station. And then we don't really get to see the evolution of it, but I have it all mapped out in my head that they start, he already knows how he feels for her. She's getting an inkling of how she feels for him. And they start mapping out her cookbook. And as things progress and she's so close to him, standing so near to him, as she is absorbing his drawings and his dedication to putting into pictures her own art, she's like, wow, I could really see myself with you. The end.
And then they bone.
And then they do it.
Then they do it right there. Sorry. I would not want this to be a G-rated ship, by the way. Any ship needs to be R or X-rated.
Yes, like for real.
So I can't really top that because I think that's beautiful. Mine is so simple compared to that. But it goes into kind of what I kind of wish for season 5. And that is that I love that you mentioned that the artist part, because I think people sometimes forget that Carmy is an artist.
Right.
And he is. I mean, fanfic writers don't forget this, but so I love that. But I would love for him to rediscover his love of cooking, like what he enjoyed about it, not in like a kitchen at all, because I don't think that's a healthy place for him, but with Sid, like both of them cooking together, like maybe at his place or her place or something like that, and getting closer and getting to know each other away from that and developing this deeper bond and stronger bond. And I do want him to eventually find out about the dish that he made, because I think it's also important because that was a one-time thing and it was him breaking the rules and making it when he wasn't allowed to. And then this is cheesy as hell, but what I really want to see is I want to see Carmy dine at the Bear, eat a dish, and it be the best dish he has ever eaten. Just like Sid's dish was the best dish. I mean, not Sid, but his dish was the best dish that Sid ever ate. And him telling her that, and then her confessing the same thing. And then, they kiss, and then they just couldn't keep their clothes on and they would just do it right there on a table. Right there on the table they were underneath.
Yes. Absolutely. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
So that's how I want them to get together. It's not as good as Carla's story, but I just really want him to rediscover loving cooking. Not necessarily that he would go back to that, but just loving it and finding connection in it again and the beauty in it. And I really want him to eat a dish that is the best dish he's ever eaten, and so they can share that. It's cheesy as hell. And I know I keep saying beautiful. I don't want cheesiness. Thanks. Okay, well, that's it, folks. I know we are going to definitely talk about this show again because this show owns me, and I haven't even talked about Richie, and he's my favorite character. So we will eventually talk about Richie in a standalone because I love that man, despite what some of you may say out there.
He's a good guy, okay? He's a good guy.
But we are going to close out this episode. And thank you so much, Carla, for doing this. When you started shipping them, it has been in the back of my head forever to want to do this because I'm like, I can't talk about this couple with anybody that I know. And so I'm like, yay,
we can finally talk about it all you want. Yes. I am so here for that.
Thank you. And I know, Io, you have said they shouldn't be together because they'd burn the whole restaurant down. Well, that might be what we kind of want. So
I mean, honestly, like, just let it happen.
But you also have said in interviews that you like to lie in interviews. So I'm taking this as that you're lying to us. Anyway, so Carla from OK Real Quick podcast, tell everybody about that podcast and where it can be found.
You can find OK Real Quick wherever you found this podcast. You can also listen to the episode that I mentioned earlier, which will probably be out by then, about 80s and 90s PSAs. Also, if you want to hear me be upset again about interracial ships that did not come to fruition, you can listen to my Saved by the Bell episode where I talk about Lisa and Zach. And you can find our social media, wherever you social your media, at OK Real Quick Pod. You can also find me, my art, and my musings at Carla Temis on only 2 places, which are Instagram and TikTok. Only one of them actually has regular content, but you'll have to figure out which one that is on your own. You can also find my website, carlatemis.com. That's CarlaTemis.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Fergie the dog is kind of probably sick of me watching this show, but she prefers gore and she did like the stabbing scene, but you know, she wants like.
Well, yeah, I mean, like that was going to be the scene, if any of them.
Yeah, she's like, where's the murder in this show? Because she loves watching horror, but you can follow her at Schroeder and Fergs. That's on TikTok, sorry. Schroeder and Fergs. That's SCHROEDERANDFERGS. It's long, but it's worth it. To find all our past episodes, by the time this drops, it will have been 600 episodes. Oh my gosh. You can go to our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com. You can also find links to our social media, such as our Discord channel, which we have in there. We have our Discord server, We have channels in there for fanfic. We have channels in there for shipping, for TV, for politics, for everything you can imagine. So head on over there. And also consider becoming a Patreon supporter today for as little as $3 a month. You could have heard this episode early. You get bonus content like we did a whole episode discussing season 4 in great length and detail. We also discussed Severance recently. We've done movies. We're going to do, it would have already dropped by this time, maybe, depending on when this releases. And I haven't told Carla yet because I don't know if she wants to be one of the people on there, but we're going to do a special bonus episode discussing the movie Weapons. I knew you would, yes. And I know Ashley wants to be on that one. So I'm like, I know people are going to fight to be on this episode. So I haven't yet revealed it to the rest of you. But by the time that you hear this, maybe it's already dropped. So yeah, you can get lots of bonus content there and occasionally win prizes. Our horror trivia event would have been already over or maybe in the midst of it. But yeah, there's other great things. So go on over to the supporters tab on our website. It's a fandomthingpod.com or click the link in the show notes. And I have no idea what the next episode is you're going to be hearing. I'm thinking I'm going to drop this in November as part of my birthday month, a special bonus there. So during my birthday month, you're going to hear about Colin Farrell. You're going to hear about Ryan Gosling. You're going to hear about the movie Babe with the pig. I cannot tell you how obsessed I was with that movie when it came out. People at Blockbuster hated me because I played it in the kids section area of Blockbuster. I always put it in there and was like, we have to watch Babe one more time. And then Carla will be there to join me to talk about the novel Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz. So it's the first time we've delved deep into a novel on here. So that'll be interesting. That'll be good. Except for my interviews, of course. So yeah. So until next time, remember, it's a fandom thing. Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and Free Palestine.
Experience the sequel everyone's been waiting for with Sideline 2 Intercepted. Join Drayton and Dallas as they navigate the challenges of college life while trying to stay true to themselves and each other. Catch all the drama and watch Sideline 2 Intercepted starring Noah Beck and Sienna Agudong for free on Tubi this Thanksgiving.